use our worldwide assets. I mentioned already Renault's a big company. There are a lot of assets that we're able to use in India, which we've done. One example I'll give you is, and a lot of people ask me about this, we recently launched a car called the Pulse. And a lot of people say, why did you bring that car out? Because it looks very much like a Micra. And it does, because it's built on the same platform as a Micra. Now, the reason we did it was because to bring a car into India from start takes 4 years. By the time you design, by the time you get all the component manufacturers to supply your localized components, it takes about 4 years. We had the opportunity to do it in a year and a half, so we did. And I can tell you for sure, the difference in the way in which we market our products means that there is very little overlap of customer between the Nissan Micra and the Pulse. But what it allowed us to do was to come into the market much faster because we already had that asset established in India. So for us, it was a positive, and it was a good example of using the strength of our organization. So what do we want to be in India? We want to be amongst the top 3 international brands by 2015 in brand image and in terms of product for quality and service. We're looking for around 2% market share in phase 1, growing to 5% in phase 2. And we'll do that, we'll start that process with 5 products in a very, very quick launch timing, and we'll open 100 sales points, again in a very quick time by the end of this year. So our vision, and this is a vision that we promote within our organisation, is that we want to be a people-centric company that everyone feels proud to buy into. And what we want is when somebody buys our product, they're proud of the product, they're proud that they made a good decision when they buy the car. We want to build our global heritage in India so that people know the heritage of our brand and that it's a pedigree, and also this establishing this pride. The DNA that we're bringing to India in order to do that, and we've got a lot of DNA in our products, but these are the DNAs that we focus on, our design. So our commitment is that we only bring good-looking cars to India. And we have got some cars in the range that are very functional but not so good-looking. But we've said in India we only bring the cars that have got a good look about them, that they're designed well. Design means very efficient inside as well. Innovative cars, so that means that they have a lot of specification or groundbreaking in their positioning. Quality is an absolute minimum, and I can tell you our product quality, we will not let any car out of the factory unless the product quality is excellent. And I'm very confident to say that our product quality is as good as any brand you can mention anywhere in the world, and I include Toyota in that. And we know that because the feedback we get from our customers, even in India, on the product is excellent. And we will not allow a car to go out unless it's absolutely perfect. And then powertrain efficiency, very important in India, is to have efficient engines that deliver an optimum balance of power and fuel efficiency. And this is something else that we push very hard in our DNA. And then behind that, it's not so important, but for us, there's strong messages. Cars that are built to be safe. We build the safest cars in the world. We have more cars than any other manufacturer which have achieved the Euro NCAP 5-star rating. And also, we take our environmental responsibility very seriously. So low CO2 emissions, perhaps in the future the introduction of electric cars, but even in the way in which we build the car, the factory that we have here in Chennai is one of the most environmentally efficient factories anywhere in the world of any car manufacturer. So how did we decide to do this? Bearing in mind that we started from nothing. We launched 2 cars last year. One was called the Fluence, one was called the Colliers. They're never going to be big volume cars, but what they will do is tell customers something about Renault, about the type of products that Renault can bring to the market. This is why we launched those 2 cars last year. Also remember, we had no dealers, so there was no point to bring a volume car to the market when we had no distribution channel to be able to push them out. So we launched those 2 cars mainly to develop the brand. The next stage 2, which we're in now, was to widen our consumer base, so to bring out the Pulse, which allowed us to talk to a wider audience of customers, tell them more about Renault, and also allow us to be able to increase the number of dealers that we were opening and to feed those dealers with product. And then phase 3 is breakthrough, and this is a product that we're about to launch that will really mean that by the end of this year, everybody in India will know Renault. But there was no point, this is our silver bullet, no point to launch it unless we had sufficient distribution channels in the market to be able to launch it in time. So this is the way we've built up our network. We're currently at 54. We've got enough dealers now to launch this car. Right across India, we cover 85% of India. And this is important for customer reassurance. So what we've done in summary is try and play to the strengths that we've got. And the strengths that we have are very good engines. How do we prove it? You probably know we've got a strong association with Formula One. And the same engineers that design our engines for Formula One are the same engineers that design our engines for the car. And they're definitely state of the art. It's not by accident that 4 out of the 12 Formula One teams use Renault engines today. We also supply our engines to Mercedes, to Infiniti, some other brands as well. Good-looking cars, this is very important. I mentioned it already. World-class safety. Again, it's a hygiene factor, but we think an important consideration, so we push on this point as well. And then best in quality. This is the quality of the product and the quality of the service. We push on this point because we know it's an asset. But it's not all plain sailing. We also have some weaknesses. And one of the main weaknesses that we face with customers is uncertainty on the brand. This is a new brand. I'm not sure I want to invest in this brand. So what have we done on that? First of all, we launched a brand campaign back last year. And everything that we do, all our advertising, has an element of brand building in it in order to keep building and developing the brand. It takes a long time, but we're consistent with it. And more, we're reaching more and more customers. We leverage Formula One because that's a strong asset. And again, this last year we were very lucky. The first ever Formula One race came to India. And thankfully, it was a Renault engine that won the race as well. And we had a lot of mileage out of that. And we will do the same again this year with the Formula One coming again in October. And then a fast ramp up of new models coming in gives customers reassurance. Also to show customers that it is a safe investment. So a lot of the point of sale material, a lot of the training of salesmen is to do with not selling the car, but selling the brand Renault and what we have done in India. We also have what we call a customer reassurance pack. We call it Renault Complete Care. And this is something where if somebody's going to buy our product, they get a 4-year warranty, not a 2-year warranty. We have very high technical competency in our dealerships. And all this is sold to the customer as a reassurance element in order to make them confident in their investment. Another criticism we have is we have a small service network. This is true, but it's growing all the time. So we push this point that we'll be at 100 by the end of this year. If you go into any Renault showroom, you will see on the wall a map that shows this is where we are today, and this is where we'll be by the end of the year in terms of number of dealers. And this is all part of the reassurance messages that we give to customers when they come into the network. And then lastly, reliable dealers. And we're very careful about the dealers that we select. And the one thing I look for in a dealer is not their ability to sell cars, but their ability to look after a customer. If they can look after the customer, the sales will come. But what I don't want is somebody that doesn't look after customers, and we won't accept it. So if I find at any point that I've got dealers that are not focused enough on that, eventually we'll roll them over for dealers and change them. But for us, it's really an important area. We also are very careful about the technical competency in our dealerships. No dealership can launch into the sales environment for Renault unless it has what we call a co-tech. A co-tech is a highly skilled technician who has to sit a test before he can even be considered for the training. And then he has 42 days training. And once he passes the training, he gets a license. And the license has to be renewed every 12 months. No dealer can sell a Renault product unless they have a co-tech in the dealership. And we push this message to the customer, again, as a method for brand reassurance. So this is really the roadmap that we've gone through over the last really 12 months. We launched the brand in May last year with a strong campaign to educate people to Renault and what Renault could bring. Then we launched Fluence, which was really our sort of premium sedan, again to educate people on what Renault really was capable of bringing in terms of product. Then Collius, same idea. Then we had a big push on Formula One in October, and then in January we launched the Pulse. So these are the steps that we've taken in terms of the 5 model launches. I won't go through that because I've more or less explained it. But what we can see now is that in just 12 months, where we were selling a car that was seen as a 5.5 lakh cheap car, we're now comfortably selling cars up as much as 24 lakhs. So we're confident that we're making progress in terms of positioning the brand. And that was phase 1, and we're satisfied that we've made good progress on that. Also, what we see in just a short space of time is brand awareness and recall has increased significantly. And if you look at the green element in the chart, the pie chart behind me, 12 months ago, we did some research with customers and we said, would you put Renault on your shopping list if you were buying a car? Only 20% said yes. Now 42% say yes. So we know we're making good progress. through the communication that we're doing. So really, just to conclude, we would say from an overall marketing point of view, we consider we've laid a good foundation. It's a foundation that we expected to lay. We have positioned ourselves in a premium space, which is one of our objectives, and we have developed an infrastructure that allows us to be able to take the business forward now. We've got logistics in place, we've got a dealer network established, we have got sales teams and technicians in the dealership that are now trained, and our product quality is assured. This is what we wanted to do in the first year before we launched what I called our silver bullet, because we wouldn't launch the car that we're just about to launch unless we were ready from a network and brand point of view. So now we can go to the next step. And the next step for us is to launch a high volume seller. Today we sell 700 to 1,000 cars a month. In a few months' time, we expect to be selling 3,500 to 4,000 cars a month. And that big acceleration comes from one car. But if we weren't ready to take all the juice out of that car, we wouldn't have launched it. So what I presented so far as a part of our brand strategy was to be ready and give us every opportunity for success before we launch this car. This is a car that we're launching. We call it the Duster. It's already getting a huge amount of interest on the blogs. This is one of the reasons why we're looking so closely at the blog activity now. Thankfully, it's all positive. And the objectives of this, from a company point of view, are obviously to increase sales and increase profit. That's number one. But remember, we've only been in India 1 year, and we're here forever. So this is only one small step in the road that we're planning to take. So the real objective for me with this car is to firmly establish Renault's credentials as a serious brand and a serious manufacturer in India. That's to give confidence to customers who are floating. I call them floating voters. They're not decided what they're going to buy, and we need to give them more confidence. And that's the other important thing with this product. And lastly, to strengthen the foundation that we've already put in place so that post-2013 we can go to the next phase of our development in India. So that's really the strategy that we've used to bring Renault into India. It's been extremely challenging. The market is unbelievably competitive. I was really surprised how aggressive the market is in India. We have to fight very hard for the business that we get, but we're not any strangers to that. We've been working in global markets across the world, and we know we have to fight for what we get. So at the moment, we're ready to go. Thank you very much for your time.